see a box, you're going to see the sun, you're going to see the camera. So these three things are the things you're going to like be very conversant with because you have to model some of your components inside Blender. So speaking of which, this is the workspace of Blender. By the right-hand side, you have like two bars. This is a move tool, the rotation tool, the scaling tool, and the tool that transforms that makes you use all of them. I don't know who uses this for. That's what you're going to see there. Then you're also going to be seeing, you're also going to be very, you need to familiarize yourself with these guys that are here. If you can see my cursor move around, you could see them, the layouts, modeling, sculpting, UV, editing, texture, paint, shading, animation, all those things. You're going to familiarize yourself with that. Do you understand? And this particular space is where my toolbar is, or sorry, my cursor is. It's a different aspect of shading or representing a view. Imagine you can see this 3D image now, this cube. Here it's showing that it's a shaded cube. But if I put it here, it's going to show you that it's in wireframe. Do you understand? And if I put it here, it's going to show you that, oh, it's in a rendered form, but it's just showing you the actual material, how it looks. Then the last up you are seeing here is a rendered form. Do you understand? So that's that. Then we come to this particular space. This is where you'll be putting your models into different layouts because you need to organize your layouts in order to find respective, because you're going to have various forms of models. Imagine you are creating an exterior render, and then you have the main building, you need to put vegetations, you need to put, cars, you need to populate the whole space, put human being, all those kind of things inside. So this is where you'll be creating those tabs to, clean your models. That is what this space is for. You understand? So you come back to that. Then here is where you'll be majorly working with, because all of these, they are like property panels. Your render property, your output properties, where you'll be changing the scale of your camera or the resolution of your camera and all those aspect ratio things. You're dealing with how you want to see your work. All these things, they matter in what you're going to be using for your art piece, basically. So now, Blender as a whole, just like you have in 3ds Max, it has rendering engines. I'm sure you guys understand what rendering engine is. It has rendering engines, but Blender has two major types of rendering engines that you see once you install Blender. It has, when you come to this particular panel here, you see the rendering engine. You understand? You click on the icon there, and then you see EV and cycles. Those are the two major rendering engines that Blender comes with. You understand? So the one we'll be focusing on today is cycles. I'm not going to do anything based on EV. That's a different scenario entirely. It's almost like they're saying Viri and Corona. There are different ways you actually, different settings for both of them to achieve, very good outputs. But it's the same thing that you're going to also do here, likewise with EV and cycles. Do you understand? So I'll just show you a few of my renders that I've done, so you can see what you could achieve with Blender. So I'll just take you through my interior renders. You guys just see what you could achieve with Blender. You could do something like this. Can you see the screen? Sorry, please, can anyone see the screen? Is anyone following? Hello?
I see the screen.
Yeah.
All right, so you could achieve an axis like this on Blender, something like this on Blender. You could do that on Blender. You could do this one too on Blender. You could achieve it on Blender. These are some of the axes I've done, you could achieve on Blender. So it depends on how you utilize it, depends on how you are familiar with the whole software. It's going to give you a very, very good result. Do you understand? Even for the exterior, likewise for exteriors, you could achieve something very, very fantastic. You could see something like this if you look properly. You could achieve something like this, very realistic, and you'll be fine. You get very good results, achieve fantastic results. I'll blow your clients off, So something like this, yeah. So this is what I'll be showing you guys on how to achieve something like this within the quickest, shortest period of time. You understand? So let's dive into Blender. Now, for the mere fact that we're diving into this space, you could bring in various models, like import models in Blender. Now, there are various formats you could import, models into Blender. You have, we come here to the file, see this import icon, see Collada, ABC, Universal Scene Description, all that, even SketchUp, but you cannot import 3ds Max. You understand? You cannot. Hello.
And the person mute is that.
Thank you very much.
Trying to figure out the person.
All right.
Please just continue. I will figure out the person. Just continue.
All right. So there are various formats you could import these files in. You could import in Collada, FBX, OBJ, and SketchUp files, and all those other external files. You cannot export 3ds Max files directly into Blender. You have to export the 3ds Max files as an FBX file or an OBJ file. You understand? So we're going to go ahead and delete all of these guys because we don't need them right now. Do you understand? So in the process of trying to create a new file, I'm going to come here within the start bar, rename it a main.
Sorry, that person should rename it. Who is that person? Trying to figure out the person from there.
Okay, so anyways, like I said, you could import various files. Like there are various formats you could import your models into Blender, but you cannot import a 3dx map or a 3dx file directly into Blender. You have to open the file and export that as an FBX or an OBJ. Then you come and import it into Blender. Do you understand? So that's how it works. So I'm just going to dive in. We have a few minutes left, and we need to create these renders quickly so you guys can ask questions, and then I'll breeze you all through the whole process. And I hope you are all following. So to do that, I am going to open this guy here. You understand? I'm going to come to this my scene collection box, rename it, call it main building. Now for the model we're going to be using today, we're going to be using an exterior. I'm going to be working on an exterior scene. We're not doing interior like today. So we're going to be working on an exterior scene, you understand, and do something very nice with it and show you guys what you guys can achieve with Blender, using with an exterior scene. So basically, I've set my rendering engine to cycles, change the, I'm adjusting some of the settings here from CPU to GPU compute. We'll go to that one later. I'm not really going in depth, but just breezing through the whole thing, and as time goes on, you guys get familiar with the whole process. So I'm going to import an object or a model, but first of all, I need to export this guy as another file. So for the purpose of this particular, tutorial, I created this file so that we could use this as a learning curve, for the whole tutorial. I'm just going to create a video and just finalize these things. I think that's what I read. So yeah, just give me 2 seconds or minutes. So let's take so much. So and that. All right, so you have that there. Sorry if it's taking quite a bit of time, but you have that there. You have that is That is all. So I'm going to be exporting this as a collada file and bring it into Blender. So I'm exporting as a collada file, bring it into Blender. I'm going to name this as Mega Mansion tutorial. See, save that. Okay, save. Yeah, so we have that saved there. And I'm going to bring it into Blender. So I come here to the file tab here, open that, and click on the imports. It goes straight to Collada. I can all see there. I could just browse and search for my file. Blender and this is it. Like that, we've imported the file into Blender. We have the Collada file into Blender. Now note, it's already saved inside my toolbar that I created specifically for it, which is called main building. Like that, I already have the main building inside the particular tab. You get. Now, just save this file because Blender sometimes can be very funny. So which means it can crash at some point in time when it's trying to figure out or calculate various forms of vectors or faces that you've inculcated into it. Do you understand? Because majority of times, a lot of people don't have strong PCs that can handle such, such demanding tasks. So it crashes. In order to avoid that, you need to be conversant with the act of saving your work. Control S should not be, clicking up Control S should not be far away from you. You understand? So I'm going to just go ahead and save this file like that. Then next thing, there are a few steps, there are 5 steps or 4 steps, major steps you need to understand when doing ArcBase or when doing visualization as a whole. Number 1, you need to have a good model. If you don't have a good model, your render cannot come out as impressive as you want it to come out. That is just a basic concept. That's the basic idea. You have to just know that. You have to work on your models, put the specific details that are required inside it, for it to work very, very well. That's 1. 2, your lighting. You need to work on the lighting. Lighting is a major aspect of 3D visualization. If you don't have a proper lighting, it's going to look like a plastic shot. Your renders are not going to come out very appeasing to the eyes. It's just going to look like one of those 3Ds, and you don't start saying stuff like that. Do you understand? That's another aspect. 3, your camera. You need to understand that there are depths towards achieving various forms of camera, and you need to understand the focal, you need to understand how focal length works in real life and how you can interpret it inside render. You understand? So these factors are major factors that you need to consider when trying to do visualization. 4, you need to work on your material. You can't just put the material and everything is looking flat, and just keep render and you're saying that's the end of the thing. No, for there to be realism, there needs to be bump, there needs to be a little bit of imperfections in your models, all these small cracks that you find on the wall. You understand? All these shaded areas that maybe the smudge has acquired on the paint. You need to do those kind of things. Working on your materials, you need to put all those things there and make them look as real as possible. Or else you cannot achieve very, very good quality renders. You understand? So those are the 4 major steps that I'm just going to tell you guys that you need to work on. So firstly, we have our model here. One of the few things I like doing is to have a canvas to work with. When I say I have a canvas, I'm going to move straight from layouts, which is here, to shading. Now, this shading layout gives me the opportunity to be able to put materials and work with my materials properly within this particular space bar. Like you can see that the screen has been split in like various segments. Here is where you're looking for materials. Here you see the material itself. And here you'll be working with different forms of nodes. You understand? So nodes are how you connect. You're telling Blender to interpret, different forms of commands for you in various formats. Do you understand? So that's how nodes work. You will find it in 3ds Max as well. So, like I said, I want to have a blank canvas, and these materials that came from Revit not showing, they are not represented properly in Blender, which is why you're seeing everything as black. You understand? So I come here to my material property, click on that, I'm clicking on. Now, as I click on this particular part here, which is the asphalt, the roads were supposed to be, you understand? You can't see anything or saying black. It shows you that the shaded or this material that comes from Revit is not accepted in Blender. So, which is why, as I'm clicking on it right now, this guy, there's nothing showing in this particular preview panel. So you understand. So Blender doesn't see it, it doesn't recognize it at all. So for you to get a material there, like I said, we need to have a blank canvas. Like everything needs to be painted white. You understand? So we're going to hit this minus sign to remove the material that was there initially. So you hit that, boom, this whole thing becomes white. It means now, once you add a new material to it, you can see that this material property preview has changed. Now, if I click on the base color or click here on the base color and say I want to add, a material to it, as you can see, it's changing. Well, let me go back. See this particular space here, the base color. And as I'm changing the color, you can see that it's also been affected in the preview tab, and it's also been recognized here, this particular space. That's to tell you that this is a Blender material and it is accepted here in Blender, which is why it is showing. Understand? So I right click at the same time while I've not released the left click button, it goes back to the way it was. Do you understand? So note, when you are getting into Blender, there are a few tips and tricks that you need to learn, meaning you need to understand shortcuts, you need to know them because they're going to help you while working. Because there's sometimes that you need to start looking for all those objects or tools or or commands. But in order not to waste your time, because nowadays people don't want to spend so much time, waiting for a 3D when they could just tell the AI to just help them generate one 3D and in seconds, minutes, the AI has generated 3Ds for them. While we're still trying to put materials and put camera and do this and do that, you understand? So in order not to waste your time, you need to understand that you need to start working with shortcuts that will help you, speed up your work progress. That is what this is about. So to do that, I recommend you guys to check out Blender Guru. If you're interested in Blender and you want to start working with Blender, you guys need to check out Blender Guru. There, you are able to start with donuts, modeling a donut. It might sound funny to you, but that is the proper way to go through things, because by the time you walk through that process, the shortcut keys, how to maneuver around Blender, everything is going to become very easy for you and smooth. So meaning, once you have that base or basic knowledge, what I'm telling you right now wouldn't sound like, something from Einstein theory or something like that. So, so basically, that is what I'm just going to do. That's one of my few advices on this video. So let's get back to the whole tutorial and not spend so much time, talking. I said I want to have a blank canvas because I want to pick camera. I want to take a camera shot. So to do that, I'm going to copy this material and start pasting them on each and every material that I see. You understand? So giving each and every material a white blank canvas. Yes. So you can have something to work with. Like that. I'm just copying and pasting. I'm pasting the white material I already copied from then, from the initial material back to paste material like that. Such an easy feature. Paste like that. Paste, so on and so forth. That. So now that we've added some materials, now we can all see the building itself. You can see the whole thing is looking so that very simple, just box. What's so special about it? So I'm going to go ahead and pick the camera here. Now to do that, I'm going to hover around here, hold Shift and right click. There, it brings my cursor Do you understand? It brings my cursor from wherever it was into this place. So by doing that, I'm going to come back here to this same collection box. Right click and create a new collection. Change the name to camera, which is where my cameras will be. And then shift A on, come to this workspace and shift A. You see camera, then click on that. Right click and set active camera. Now, if because the laptop I'm using doesn't have a number pad, I'll just easily press 0. That's a shortcut. I'll just easily press 0 on the number pad, but my laptop doesn't have the number pad, so I'm just stuck with this guy. Now, you can't really say anything here. Do you understand? But then again, to have a better control of your camera in Blender, there's something called navigation work menu. Do you understand? You go to view, you see this navigation here. You come here and you click on work navigation. You can assign a shortcut to it that everybody that you could use on your own. Well, I've already assigned a shortcut. It's Control F for my own side. So I'm just going to click on Control F and see what happens. I can move my camera like I'm controlling a first-person shooter game. You understand? So I'm going to use E to go up. I'm going to use S to go back, and use WESD to move around. That is the whole idea, behind the work navigation thing. Do you understand? So I'm going to leave this here and try and set my camera properly. Now, in ArcViz, another tip again, hope you guys are writing this thing down, because I don't think I want to go back towards saying the same thing that I've said before. So in ArcViz, another tip again towards achieving realistic renders is make sure your camera or the angle or the focus angle of your camera is always set to have a clean line, meaning it has to be on 90 degrees. You understand? So here is where I'm going to be adjusting my camera position. You understand? So it's on 97. You can see that the whole camera is looking wonky, kind of. I'm going to click 90. That it has set the whole camera view to 90. On the y-axis, I'm going to set that to 0. It's going to straighten it up for me. You can see that little slouch. Do you understand? 0. And it's fine the way it is. And now the z-axis, I'm going to leave it on 0. So it gives me a straight view. We have a nice intending camera already. Can change, that's on the rotation axis. Now on the location, I can increase the height on the z-axis to around 0.9. You understand? And leave it there. This one we get. And leave it there. So speaking of which, while we're still on the case now, this is where I have to set my cameras properly. I'm going to be focusing, I'm going to be working on the focal length. Now, in real life, when you have a video camera, your focal length is always set to 50 millimeters. Do you understand? That's the real life. Yes, that's a real life perspective camera. But then you can reduce the scale, and the more you reduce it, the more your picture gets stretched and distorted. Do you understand? So you are trying to avoid the scenario where your picture is so distorted that it looks so unreal. Do you understand? So you need to work with a focal length that is very, very realistic. So by doing that now, I'm picking 50, and I'm just going to continue to adjust this guy till I find a position that works well for me. I'm going to pick this position, and I'm going to be fine with it. I can even still reduce this guy to around 40, focal length, or 35, to be on the safe side. You understand? Now, you can't allow your camera to look here. Some people feel like, okay, fine, the camera is down there. We're not seeing, you need the camera to look up a bit. Like I said, one of the few notes or keys that you all need to understand about achieving a photorealistic visualization is camera is part of them. You need to set your camera in presence in such a way as it's telling a story, not just giving you a background image, or not just giving you a building shot. You understand? It doesn't make sense. It has to be a composition. It has to tell a story. You understand? You need to see the sky. You need to see how the environment interacts with your building itself. Do you understand? Not just the building as a whole. You get. So to do that, my camera is looking down and it's looking to straight, but I do not want to distort it by changing this guy to look up. If I do that, you can see that we're no more having straight lines again. It's almost like you're using Lumion and then you do this, and then there's a particular control that you put in Lumion, something perspective, and it just 2 points perspective, and it just makes everything straight for you. But there's no trick like that here. And I think in Max, you also have it too as well, but there's no trick like that here. You understand? You have to set this on 90 degrees and come to this camera property. And then this y-axis is where you're going to do that and set your camera properly. Yeah, that's another tip again using Blender. You understand? So you have that within this list and your camera is set. This is the camera view we're going to work with. This is the only shot we are going to have, we are going to make, and this is what you're going to be seeing. Now, this is on shaded mode. Do you understand? You're going to click on this camera, we come to my output properties and click on just render region below. Now, if I hit the render tab, instead of coming here, I could just easily press Z and it brings these 4 panels for me. Now, I mentioned we have different 4 rendering outputs that you can see. You have the wireframe, you have the material preview, you have the solid, which is what we are on presently, and you have the render preview. Now, if I click to material preview, it's going to show you the material that we have in set and how it looks like. Do you understand? But then if I click on Z again and click move to rendered, you can see, as you can see the screen, it's already showing you a rendered outcome. It's showing you how it's turning out to be. Do you understand? So you can see how powerful and how fast this whole system is, this whole Blender scenario works out. If I come to the world property panel here, I can click on this color here and make it white. So you see what you already have. Now we just have a blank canvas. Everything is white. There's nothing much happening. Everything is just bland. No trees, no sky, no grass, no other material, just a white canvas. Now, this is something you can work with because we've already set the camera, and now you can see how you can position your, your objects, your external objects, buildings, trees, cars properly within this particular space in order not to overpopulate and, use so much of your RAM while trying to create realistic renders, which doesn't make sense. We need to just focus on the parts that we are working with. So, which is why I picked the camera first, had a blank canvas, pick the camera, then I'll be able to just populate where I need to focus on. That is all I'm doing right now. So now I have this. The next step is either to work on my lighting or to put the material. But me, I prefer working on the material first before working on the lighting. So I'm going to work on the material. I save this, Ctrl S, I move to shading. Do you understand? Now, by doing that, I can click on this guy and set my camera. All right, so sorry about that. Yeah, I had to, the robot light to change to and all of that, so I had to consider. All right, so hope you guys can see my screen. Please indicate if you can see the screen. Hello? Is anyone, can anyone hear me?
Yes, you can see it. You can see it, sir.
All right,
I'll see you guys.
All right, good, great. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting materials, in this whole scene. I'm going to go ahead and put materials there. Now, firstly, you need to understand that you need to have a reference image that you're working with. You understand? So my reference image are these guys. You know, this is somebody child. But this is my reference image. And this is what I want to work with. You understand? This is what I want to try and achieve. You understand? So let's try and achieve this. Let's see if we can try and achieve this within this short period of time. You understand? Looking at, if you look at the reference image, we have few materials to work with. This is a gray plaster, nice white stucco finish, black paints, or whatever it is, and nice white concrete. You understand? So let's put these materials. We have grass, we have some palm trees and all of that. We have glass. Let's put these materials in play first. Let's see how we can achieve this in Blender. So we go back to Blender. We already have the white plaster and the other parts that needs, finishes. So to do that, now I'm going to show you different methods of adding TBR materials into Blender, because when you're working with a powerful tool, a powerful software like this, you need to understand that you also need to have, like I said, you need to have good quality materials. One of the tips to achieving photorealistic renderings, you understand? So I'm going to add the concrete material into this space. Now to do that, I can just click on my principal BSDF and click Shift Ctrl T. It will take me to, it will open this tab, and I just have to search for where my materials are and click on it so that I have. So the thing is that when trying to put in TBR materials, it comes with various forms. It comes in various forms of images. You see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or sometimes 6 images. Now each image represents, represents a factor or a form of what that material is supposed to be. You understand, in real life. So we have the base color, we have the height, which is like displacement value. We have the metallic, which is like, the reflectivity and how the material is going to feel. You have the normal, which is the regular bump map that we all know. Then we have the roughness, which is like the glossiness of the material. So I highlight all these features and then click on Principled Texture Setup. Then that is so smart in such areas, it is going to automatically create and generate those nodes for you without you having to deal with all that stress by putting nodes by yourself. You understand? Which is one of the few things that make this software very, very powerful. You understand? So like that, it has generated all this stuff. I don't need to start doing them one by one. You understand? So in order to waste so much time, I'm trying to breeze through this thing in the fastest minutes possible. So by doing that, I come here. Now, if you look closely, you can see that there's a repetition of material. It's not looking realistic. It's not looking fantastic. It looks like a child's work. You understand? So you don't want to achieve this. You don't want to achieve this at all. You don't want your clients to be saying that you do not know what you're doing. So you have to achieve proper texturing. That one is another form of tutorial. But I'll just show you a quick maneuvering method to just quickly achieve something good. So you come here to Object Mode, click on that, and you go to Edit Mode. Now, another way to do that is by pressing Tab. If you press Tab, it automatically moves from object to the next image. Do you understand? Then I don't want to be seeing these dots. I click on Faces, which is 3, which is this one here. So finally here, you click on here. Now you have this. You understand? Now, which means you can click on Face. Here like this, you can't click on Face. You have to be clicking on the dots. But we don't want to be working with those dots. It's the face we want to work with. So I can have the access to be able to click on Face. Now I can click on Face. To select all, you don't have to go to wireframe to start highlighting all of them one by one. No, you can just press click, it selects all of that. You see, this is the beauty of using shortcuts while working with Arc softwares like this, it speeds up the work within the shortest period of time. People will just be like, yeah, how did you do this within a short period of time? Well, some magic is knowledge. You understand? So knowledge makes one, advanced knowledge. So, anyways, without further ado, you've highlighted all of that. You press 3, it opens this tab of UV mapping. Do you understand? Then you go to Smart UV project, click on that. This scale to bounds is not ticked yet. So you tick that and you press OK. When you do that, you go back tab. Now you can see that there's a difference. The materials are popping out, are coming as the way they are supposed to be. You understand? And they're looking more, more realistic. Now I can come here towards this mapping and start setting the nodes. I can change this to 5. Reduces that 5. Do you understand? That way, we are reducing all of the mapping to make it look more realistic. I can draw this to 10, draw this to 10, So achieve something realistic like this, So this is fine. Like, this is very fine. So we are good with this guy like that. Then to make it look like this white plaster, this white stucco finish, you go to click on Shift A within this area here. You can see that the mouse is not here, it is within this space. The cursor is not here, it is here. So you click on Shift A to bring out this tab, this property tab. Search. I'm going to click on Mix RGB. Plug that into this node, just drop it there. It's going to align, it's going to just plug itself there. Now it's on white already. Note another tip again in visualization. There's no perfect white, there's no perfect black. When you have a perfect black, it's not going to look realistic. When you have a perfect white, it's not going to look realistic. It needs to have a shade of green, you understand, for it to look similarly, possibly realistic as possible. You understand? So we have that there. The factor, we're going to increase the factor to 0.7 or 0.8. Do you understand? We're going to lose a little bit of detail, but it is fine because we don't want so much of the details to show. If you look at the reference image and zoom in, you see that majority of the details are not showing. It's kind of like a white plaster. You understand? So, like that, we have this very wonderful here. Increase the white, the bits. So it seems white. So by having that, I can copy that same material and apply it within this space here. Now you can see that I've made a mistake now because when importing my Revit file, this guy has the same material as this guy and this guy. So I need to change that. It needs to change. Do you understand? So to do that, we can separate these materials and Blender easily. You go to this image, you can highlight all, you understand? And then see and wireframe. Now that way, I'm going to use this means to separate the materials that I don't need to share the same color or material with, with themselves. So I'm going to highlight these guys and leave them this particular, material name and create a new one, apply a new material. Name that one, let's say, new concrete feature. Assign. I've done that. Go back to material preview, and then I can test this material there. View Smart UV projects, okay. Tab off, and we have different materials for same components that are using same materials. So basically, that's how you work with it. You understand? So we're not going in depth so much, but just touching the surface. Let's just try and finish this thing as quick as possible so you guys can ask your questions as quick as possible. All right, so based on that, I want to put the grass material now. The same way we added that concrete material into this whole thing, I'm going to put the grass material. I'm going to press Shift Control T again, like after clicking on the principal BSD, go back, search for where I put my grass material. earth material, anything, and then just put all those guys there. Now, it's going to generate all that for me without stress. Tab A, U, Smart Tree project, okay. This is not magic. You just have to know it. Hope you are taking notes, please, because it's going to be very hard to want it to come back and start telling everybody one by one again. You understand? This is the process you need to take note of. I'll just basically put in materials into this whole thing. The grass is a little bit reflective, or it's fine there for this process. It's fine. I'm not going to do so much around that. Then for the garage doors, let's not waste so much time. Let's try and find a metallic material. Shift Ctrl T, go back. Let's see if we can find metal. We have some nice metallic materials there, and let's add them into the mix. It's called PSDF, blah, blah, blah. I'm supposed to show it. It shows tab A, new Smart Tree project. Okay, tab again. That's that. Now I have a very nice metallic finish to the whole thing, giving you a very big contrast. Adjust the material a little bit, the mapping a little bit, so can be nice, can be realistic enough. Achieve very good results. Blah blah blah. We are all good. All right, so Shift Ctrl A. Also add a little bit of hue saturation value. Play with it. And see what we can do with it. Do this 7, put this on around, it's right there, about to make it darker. And I think I'm fine the value 2 bits. Okay, so yeah, I think I'm fine with the value 2 bits. So I'm not going to do so much on that there. So I'm going to come here and put this on darker as well. Just going to make that dark. Copy this, paste this, and where that guys are, do that for, for the rest. I'm just basically adding materials. I'm not doing so much. I was basically putting materials where they are, and, So I copied materials and just using it, so I'm not really doing so much. Now for the glass, there are various ways of achieving realistic glass in Blender. Now you need to understand that when you're working with visualization tools like this, the softwares like this, there are going to be a lot of plugins or add-ons, like some people call it. Now each plugin or add-on, do you understand? Each plugin or add-on, each plugin or add-on has various things that they do. You understand? So I can see that we'll soon be going off. We have like 4 minutes, like 6 is 8 11. We'll still be going off, for like 3 minutes. But before that, I'm just going to show you how you can achieve realistic glass in Blender. So one, you can click on this guy and let me just copy and paste this one here. You understand? So you can click on that guy, upload this one, carry it somewhere here. Within this space here, click Shift A, search glass. Click on that, and plug them together. Here you have glass. As you can see, we have the glass. Can do that. That's one step. The last step is connect this principal PSD together. Increase the metallic, increase the specular, and reduce the roughness to layers. You can see we have another glass. And reduce alpha. I don't know, 0.6, 0.7, whichever one you have desires. you already have a realistic graph. So there are various ways you can achieve various things inside them. You just need to have the knowledge about it. You understand? So I'm not going to make use of this guy. I'm just going to go straight to my layout. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to go through my area because I have an add-on that I make use of. So I'm going to go there, iMesh, materials, click on this, and I'll be able to see various forms of materials that I use. We have various forms of glass, I don't want to take glass and all that. I'm just going to pick glass normal and import it into my scene. Copy property and paste that one there. This one. Where I have the other glasses, copy and paste. Like that. I've added materials to this guy. Now if I click on render, you can see that we already have something somewhat that is making sense, something that is kind of like making sense a bit, you understand? Something that is just, it's not just a blank material. We're not having something that has a meaning. You understand? So people see. Even though there's no clouds, there are no other objects inside, we just have a white background with a screen object. Understand? So it's quite nice. Within a short period of time, this is what you can achieve. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm going to try and put an asphalt, and I think when we come back, we'll be seeing how to import objects and all those kind of things inside Blender. So I'm going to put the asphalt material there, put that inside tab A, use function projects, go to tab off. I can just put this guy as much as I like. All right, so I think I've set this to the parents. All right, I think I'm fine with this guy. Like this. All right, so I'm fine with this guy. Screen should be going off for like 2 minutes or so, I think. Okay, so you can see now. So I think we just need to wait for the timer to just go off. So I will come back and then we continue with where we stop, which will be. I hope you guys are having a wonderful time because working on Blender is a very simple and straightforward. That's first. That's not so. But for what I'm doing right now, I'm trying to create what into this reset. That's basically what I'm doing. So I've finished the materials. Next thing will be putting models inside this whole thing. So you guys will see how it's done. And that will be quite easy. So once that is done, ready picked camera, picked materials, picked camera, picked materials. Then next step, importing models. Once that is done, move straight to lighting. Lighting has been set, we move straight to render. And then post-production. And then that'll be a close. As opposed to there. When you guys have questions or recommended tutorials that you guys can watch, let's keep you all updated. Speaking of itself, I didn't put myself inside this one. Yes. It immediately enters your scene without stress. You can move it however I want and play with it however I like. Understand? You drop that down and just push it all the way down so it doesn't obstruct the view of what I'm trying to create. And I can just keep copying that and copying that the way I like. Now, as you can see, we already have something seemingly working. We have this wonderful looking piece of grass here. Or then that is private. We have that there. I'm using this as a reference image. So we don't go off truth. We hit video. Now, I'm using a lot of shortcuts that you guys might not be aware of. Now, for copying, there are various forms of copying. In Max, you also use it. You have the instant copy and you have another form of copying. I can't remember. So in Blender, you also have two major types of copying in Blender. When you press the Shift D, like Shift G to copy, it's going to copy the material, meaning you can also edit the object separately from the other one, which will not affect the rest. You understand? So if I copy this particular object like separately, this is a Shift D copied object. Do you understand? And then I delete the materials and then I put another material on it. This one that I copied it from will not be affected, or the original version of it will not be affected. And delete it. Now, for these other ones, I did an alternate duplicate, which is Alt D. You understand? So the Alt D, by duplicating it alternatively, what it does is that when you adjust or make changes, to the face of the material of the object, it affects every single object that has been, duplicated alternatively. You understand? That's what happens. So the alternate D is almost like an instant copy, whereas you change or have changed a particular material and it just automatically changes for the rest of all of them. You understand? So you need to understand that as well too. Now, if you look here, in the reference image, we're having a bit of foliage within this space here. We're going to try and bring that here and move that towards the space. Now, you can see we are having a gizmo that shows the X, Y, Z axis. The Z axis helps you move objects up and down. The Y axis helps you move objects left and right. And that's the X axis. Then the Y axis helps you move objects front and back. Do you understand? So you have left and right, front and back, and up and down movements. Now, to do that, if you're not connected on this guy, you're not clicking on that guy, you're not seeing the gizmo. Shortcut for that is G. It helps you grab. Do you understand? Just helps you grab. Yes, so I press G and I can press any of those command settings, all those axes like X, Y, and Z. You understand? Very easy. Like some objects that you bring into Blender, you find out that their origin is so far away, and the thing you're working with is just right in front of you. But then the origin of the object is so far that you have to start looking for the origin of the object, and then you now have to like zoom out to try and fit your object that has an origin that is located inside Pangroove. So you just need to understand that you can't be working like that. You have to know all these shortcuts, which will help you, speed up your work, to guide you, while working. So it's fantastic for you to understand. So if you know the shortcuts, as you can see now, I don't need to look for that gizmo. I just press G, X, and just move my thing without even looking for the origin point itself. Do you understand? And it just makes your work so much smoother and faster. Like I just press G, Z, try to raise this guy a bit. Do you understand? And see how we can continue moving from here. Yeah. So as that's happening, in that space, Yeah, we're in that space. Within the space here. Grab Y, Z again. Understand? And looking, we're trying to achieve something like this, something like that. You understand? So I can go back to tab and then just grab and make these guys somewhere within the space here. And we are good. Like that. Use that here and delete this other ones like the moment. Copy these guys within the space here. Shift Alt G, Y axis, grab this one to this space here. And G, grab C, I already have all these guys within the space here. And grab this one, take this one, tag down. S for scaling, so I can scale it, it's down. Understand? Then up, grab this one, and then wire this thing so it expands, and you have that the tab again. Okay, very good. So as you can see, we are making good progress with the whole thing. Making good progress with the whole thing. Everything is looking fine. Understand? So let's continue going. Now, for the rest of the whole thing, they're saying that they have trees, have some very nice, some very nice trees around and all that going on. So we're going to try and do that. But firstly, if you look here, okay. Now note, if you're using a powerful system, I try to click on the material preview. You understand? Because of these guys, it might take quite a long time for it to load. For your blender to load. So it might even crash. Do you understand? It might even crash. So what you need to know is that you need to create these guys here. Start. You should just leave it in shading mode and just continue working with this. Now, if you want to look at what you're saying, if you want to like open the material preview panel, you need to hide these guys. Now, note, like I mentioned the other time, we have this collection, these same collections in this particular area now. Because these guys, they are different add-ons entirely. You understand? They create various formats of tabs on their own. Like if I hide this guy, this is this hide that I said, anything that is relating to botanic add-on is going to just hide completely. You understand? So anything that is related to assets as well is going to hide if I hide them. So it's that powerful. Similarly, for those of you that are conversant with linear, you understand what I'm talking about. So I want to try and create this particular area here. We don't have the ground, we don't have the ground. So I'm going to try and do that quickly right now. So I'm going to just hide these guys so I can view my material preview. And then just create a plane for it. So I'm going to carry my cursor here, sheet A. I'm going to put that in main building, sheet A, plane. Copy out the plane, grab Z, it's going to come up, Y, X axis, so shrink this thing towards the side, Y axis, so you get this thing. So you need to know that any software you're using, you need to learn how to model inside them. Because sometimes that you feel like, oh, I forgot to do this. Let me quickly model it inside of it. No one has time for that. You need to know how to work with these guys in their own spaces because they themselves, they also have act tools. You understand? So you need to just understand them. So by doing that, you have this within this space and that. So I click on this new. Let's go to save that as, let's save this as F. Let's save this as F. I'll go to shading. Go to shading. Sorry. Go to shading. Click on my principal BS0, shift Ctrl T. And it's going to take this to where the materials are. Environment, sound, notice ambient inclusion, this guy, and drop it inside there. Good. You have sound, tab, new smart TV projects. That's it. Now I can just adjust the value a bit. So we see how this turns out. You know, very interesting as very glad this and do this a little bit. And to make this as well as possible. So what's in this is that I'll be right then. I'm just going to copy this guy here. Paste it here. Okay, so that is what we are going to do. So you have sound within this space here. And we are fine. Yeah, fine. Yeah. Please, this is on space. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to finish on this particular area. All right, so let's change the sound. Simple dots. Okay. Now that I'm done with that, let's go back to survey and continue populating like a good person, a good Samaritan. So let's continue populating. Now we have, let me go back to the camera view. We have this. Let's see how it turns out in render form. Yeah, as you guys see, it's two things already. We are having a very good, we're already having a very good output. I see the grass, all of them is coming out. I can see the plants that are coming out. Well, there's a little bit of grass here and there, and everything just turn out very fine. So I want to adjust the grass a little bit to the color. It's muted for a little bit. So yeah, something around that houses, and yeah, like that. But see, we're having a closely related, realistic fun. It is. It's quite fun, sure. Okay, let's go back to solid and add more plants, so more trees. Yes, that's it. I'll add some palm trees. Go to append them. Going to add some palm trees. Space that palm tree in that space. So you will see the dynamic file, which shading. Let's take a while for this guy to load, but I need it to load. Okay. All right. Like I said, it's what I'm talking about. It's taking quite some time to load. Now, if you're using a very powerful system, it's going to take forever and your system might crash. So in order to avoid that, do not work with things that models and objects that have so much vertices, faces like that, and go to preview, render preview. That's going to be a simple edit, honestly. It's not so. You have to avoid that. You should just be working on shaded mode as much as possible in order to avoid crashing a system. You understand? But we're good, we're good. Okay. Try this palm tree. Bring it somewhere here. Wow. And you can just play around and see what we can do with this guy. We get to some bits. So as you see a guy, should see some by. Bring it for a bite. All right. Sorry, I'm having it's building fun, but that's where I am. So we just realize what is this guy? And the cycle. So not between the ideas and the minimum mark. That's what we have been also there. So have that happening in that space and just scale this one here and there, copy, try the same done with this, the same somewhere here, then somewhere there. We are having some bit of plans within that space there. Mirror this guy, so slightly different from the orientation it goes, and this somewhere in this frame here. And similarly grid file like this. So that's like this. Let's open back a planet and let's import some other plants. Let's go to botanic spawn. Let's go to tropical. Yeah, some very interesting looking plants. But just funny shapes. Have that one there. Have the sensor around there like this. So the ideology behind it is to see what works well for you. You understand? You just keep importing. You can see how easy it is for someone to just import a file without stressing out yourself. Do you understand? I'll take this guy down the exercises. Something like that. Some of words. So this. That'll be done with. About so I'm not talking so much about it because I'm focused right now. I'm trying to put so many of my models in play. Scale that down. Scale this one down like that. Scale this one down to all going down together. So we're like inside the ground. Okay. Okay, it's there. Wherever I like. Thank you. How well so you have something like that. Understand? So we're looking at how we can achieve something like this. Understand? So yeah, that's the main thing. Let's click on this Z. There's one. Copy this guy somewhere around here. Scale it. I just keep working on your models. Now, in the process of doing that, you need to understand that when you're adding models into your scene, but you need to realize that you need to create a shadow. Like I said, on the very first beginning, when you're doing renders, you need to create a story with your render. It doesn't have to do, it shouldn't just be bland, like, oh yes, we are doing renders and that's that. It needs to have a meaning, it needs to have a priority, it needs to have a story, a backing, and audio. For it to make sense, for people to be able to relate with it. Now, to achieve all that, there are various ways to bring in lifelike models into your own scene and see how best it is and see how best it interacts with your building and all those little things like that. doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be what it is, as a model in the first paragraph. Doesn't necessarily have to be what it is, but then it just has to make sense. It has to, it doesn't have to be perfect. You understand? It just has to be very nice. And before you know what's happening, we are making very good sense. We are making fantastic, lovely sense. We're actually doing so much. So understanding models, understanding components you are working with, understanding factor at which you are facing the components, understanding the environment itself at which the same is being worked on. To give you a better idea, grasp of visualization. You understand? So let's take this view for example. I've added some trees and some plants and all that. Let's see it in render mode. Let's say it turns out to be. You understand? So you see, in a short period of time, already having something that is close to this guy. You might not see it perfectly, but it's close to this guy. You understand? So we're not doing exactly what this is here. We're just trying to provide something or create something that is close to this guy as much as possible. Now I'm scaling this particular guy here. Yeah, which I feel much more comfortable about right now. Scaling that guy there. I can bring the sun down and it's so good. So it doesn't seem like it's doing too much. I'm copy this guy. Possesses this area as well. Let's put the plant somewhere around this area here. Another plant somewhere here to cover all this. So note, we are working with this particular thing. It means we need to put buildings, some cars around. So it doesn't just look dull. It doesn't just look like there's nothing happening. Do you understand? So we're going to do that. We're going to do that very, very, very soon. Let me see if I can copy. We do not see. I'm not really fond of this. See like that. Yeah. Yes. Let's see. Now, within a short period of time, you can see already achieving something very good. Now, we've not added an actual light to this video. This is just, we're just having a white background. We have not added any form of major lighting into it. And we're already achieving something this good. And this tutorial is supposed to be 9. And this is almost 8. I'm already achieving something like this. So you should realize how powerful your tool is. You understand? And if I hit render now, in less than 5 minutes, you're going to have very good renders. In less than 5 minutes. I'm telling you, in less than 5 minutes, you have very, very good renders. So if you can achieve this level of this degree of work within a short period of time, it's a very wonderful, thing. Now I'm going to try and look for some external models. I don't think I'm feeling, look at how the garage doors are, look at how my own is. So I don't think I'm really feeling it. So I think I still need to work on that particular aspects, on the mapping, let's make that a little said. What else have to, let's not explain that here. Yeah, let's just do this. This is what's happening. Show this. Here. Here to here. This was my space, so I will be the Western side. Yeah. It's looking nice. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right, so we can continue now by this way. Don't really want to do so much. Now let's continue. So I said I want to add some external building to the whole thing. So to do that, I'm going to search for where I kept my readings. And yeah, okay, I'm just going to search for it. So I'm just going to project, and just quickly, maybe somebody said to me, all right, this is the next thing. Let's copy this step. And let's bring the SketchUp file inside Blender. Let's do this further into there. And I'm going to press it like that. I'm going to quite some time, and yeah, it's been imported. That's not so you have this. Yeah, have that. All these guys there. And that's this. This. So, let's see of these guys. Yeah, I don't know the majority of these guys. Fine with this. Okay. Yeah, so we recorded a SketchUp material. As you can see now, we created a SketchUp folder. So anytime you import a SketchUp folder, it's going to be inside this SketchUp material or object. It's going to be inside this particular SketchUp. So there you have it. There you have it. Now I'm not going to spend so much time putting materials and that's SketchUp file. I'm just going to put some of the materials. And then once that is done, just put some cars, maybe even human being. Maybe human being and not open the lighting. Then take one more steps. This kind of here or this, and then we can understand. I think that's what we do. Yeah, so let's do that. So I'm going to copy this guy here. John, it's not also go like save it. Yeah. Save it. Now I can move. It's easy. Grab this. This is somewhere around here, but let's see. Copy this X. Just drag this guy in the space and as can see. Looking towards six buildings. Let's drag this guy for the bits. So, somewhere that's this. And it's making more interesting. You know, copy this guy to the back. It's just populates the back like that. Also. So basically, what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to populate as much as possible. So I hope the whole this is not boring for you guys. You know. Sometimes tutorials can be very boring, so I hope this thing is not boring for you guys. You know, so there you have it. I'm just going to work with this. I'm not going to do so much, like I said. I'm not taking so much work. I'm going to do that really well. And what else do I need to work with again? I said we imported buildings, we imported some other things. What else do you need to import again, man? Once you import cars, you can import some other objects in them. And I just work with those. So that's that. So S. So let's import cars. Let's import cars. Right. I'll go back to my assets manager and let's import a nice car. Simplify that. It should be that. Yes. All right, so this guy is see what that comes out to be. Just needs to be wow. Okay, it's not bad then. It's not bad. Right, so I'm just make this here. So it's R Z. I'm putting Z axis. I can just grab X, move that to like that. Then that's like pi is it feels like it's simple or something. Grab Z and pi up again. This R Z. I'll click like that. And I mean, there are lots of clues. Lots of clues. Let me put this to the back again. Grab some of the lights. Oh, okay, so I don't like this one. So that's a big deal. No, this one. It's going to be quite a while. All right, so good. What's it? Move that sideways. So it's this card. This card. Was so it's best to have very good cameras that you have like working yourself. So just grab that and bring that somewhere else. So this time. So you can see how easy it is. These are models I've worked with before, and because I do not want to start putting material on them again, I just drag them from wherever they are, turn them to assets, and I just copy them inside. Without stress. That's easy. And this one. That's like this one in this space here. It's easy as this. Yeah. I think that's already. So this so supposed to do some other things, but we don't have so much time like that. So I'm going to play this around, just get something which gives us and lets us push this out back. So that's the best this set for us. That's for it's important. So, and that's how the lights. That's this. That's what's in our space. So this is just a rushed one. This is a rushed version. It's not well thought through the way it's something I could do. What you could achieve. Let's show you what you could achieve. This is a short period of time, kind of lighting things you could do, the whole scene. The whole scene like that. Just keep notes. It's not the appropriate lighting. So guys, forgive me with that. But however, I'm just trying to show you that you could do these scenes and night scenes with this thing and still make it look very, very, very nice. Understand? So this good. You can just do this. If you have some components inside, it's going to come over. So I'm just going to leave it like this. I'll just hit render. So, short period of time, you have good renders. Really, that's the idea. Have very good renders in the shortest period of time. Like with all your clients, and everybody will be fine. And these are just basic steps. There are other things you need to do. Sit down with the materials properly, sit down with the lighting properly. But then, I'm not showing you how basic it is for you to just get something properly done. Do you understand? So from there, you want to quick post-production and start with that. Then it's going to be, if you have questions, for your questions, you forward them. So start answering them. All right, so series denoising something else to finish the next 1 minute 50 seconds like that. Yeah, so 30 seconds, 30 seconds. So there you guys have it. A quick render, quick setup, and all of that. You know, check your time for achieving something good. You understand? So I just take this to for post production, save, here's this, and save this guy, here's the song. We are done with that. We are done with that. Let's take some to be focused on. For post production. I'm not going to do so much because we already have a big scene to work with. And you know, we've done that. And that was message. Right, so this scene, we start with the base scene. All right, so I don't really do so much here. Let's play with the contrast a little bit. Make pause. Just play with it and see where your fit lies or anything, or which lighting could fair most. You understand? So I just play around with this guy and see the one that goes well for me. I just play with this guy and just do this guy, or do this particular guy and anything like this. Right? Just matters on your own tastes. You understand? Of course, you need to add them in X. Use form of S, either inverted or regular SLS. Because this form an S, the S doesn't need to be so strong because by the time you make it so strong, you're going to be having something like this, and you don't want to have this because it's not going to make realistic. It doesn't need the shadows to pop and the lights to lights. Keep it okay. You understand? So exposure, increase the exposure value, increase the lighting, and all of that. And then pop darkness, play the saturation, reduce that the tad bit. So it's not overly saturated. You're saying it's not too colorful. You understand? Play the light pass. It needs to be just washed out. So you also start to picture, something like that. And you just play the color balance, your cyan, your green to it, your blue, your brown, so. So all these things, just play with them and see what works well for you. You understand? So that's how you just work with post production and other things like that. It's not a perfect thing, it's not a perfect render, but then we're having something seemingly good. You get so move on, copy that and paste that inside the space. Going for the gaps and some of them will start to fit them and there you have it. If you want to put beds, you can put beds as well. Yeah. And do that as well there. I found what we have right now, so we just go ahead and save this. Yeah, we go ahead and save this. All it knows. Right, I save this and all these. So we're done with this guy, and there you have it. Have a debut, which is this guy. I just finished working on I have a knife here, which is this guy. So in any software thing, we created two renders, the day render and the night scene render. So you can see how powerful this tool is, depending on how flexible you are with it, depending on how easy, depending on how you see your. So it's versatile. It can help you achieve good results during the shortest period of time frame. Like we have in Nigeria now, everybody is looking for very, very good realistic results at a very short period of time. So you can see what this tool can do for you, depending on how intuitive you are and how respectful you are to the whole tool itself. Any tool, any rendering software or engine can give you fantastic results, just depending on the user. We could use Lumion and give you a better results, a result better than this, definitely. But it depends on the user. The person that is using it, the person has to be very, very good, has to know exactly what to do at each given point in time for renders to be created by a fantastic enough. So I guess this is where I'll be putting a pin to these guys. So thank you very much. So if you have questions, please you can go ahead and start asking questions. I think that's also my one. Please go ahead and then put the whole thing. I think we are done. Yeah, I think we are done. Otherwise. Hello, is anybody there?
Hello, Actor Jesus. Thanks for the most impactful tutorial section. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much.
So we are having actually less than 10 minutes. So anybody that is having any form of question can just drop it on the WhatsApp platform, and we are going to tag the tutor. We are going to tag the tutor on the WhatsApp platform and also drop his number on the WhatsApp platform. So in case any of you guys have a question to ask or you want to interact with him personally, you can actually do that through his number we are going to be dropping and tagging him on the platform. I trust the session was actually good. The class was actually nice. For me, it was actually impactful. I learned one or two things which I'm actually very grateful of. Though I also use Blender, but Jesus, you're actually on another realm when it comes to Blender. We are just learning. So we are going to tag you along on the platform and make every possible need for anybody that want to get through you to reach you, and we hope you get to interact well with them and all. So once again, we are really grateful for the wonderful session, even though there was going off of light. Accordingly, we are in Nigeria. So you still made time owning your generator for us and all. So we are very, very grateful for that. So in a nutshell, the class will be closing for now. And for the people that is asking for the recording video and voice and all, I did some recording, so I will try to check through it and see possible outcome of it if I can make it into proper files and have it uploaded on our YouTube channel. So I'll see to that, but I'm not promising. And I wish you all a great and wonderful night. And I would love you guys to drop your wonderful comments on the WhatsApp platform as well. So at this point or at this junction, I wish you all a wonderful week. Once again, thank you all for being on this session. So Architect Jesus.
What's up, bro?
Yeah, I will chat to you on WhatsApp now, so we'll talk thereafter. So I will be ending this tutorial right now. So once again, thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, bye everybody.